We've been exploring the challenge that many schools face, connecting the data that they have to the results that they want to achieve. In the last chapter, we shared our assumption that the bridge between data and results is collaborative inquiry, a process where teachers work together to embrace learning problems and generate and test out solutions together through rigorous use of data and ongoing reflective dialogue. But that's only part of the story. If collaborative inquiry is going to take hold and be sustained, 5 critical elements need to be in place. Or to extend our metaphor, 4 steps across the bridge and its foundation. The first step across the bridge is leadership and capacity. Michael Fullen defines capacity as developing the collective ability, knowledge, skills, motivation, and resources to act together to bring about positive change. Few educators have had adequate opportunities to develop the knowledge and skills that they are now being called upon to use, to collect, analyze, and respond to data in order to improve student achievement. That's why in RBT's partnerships with schools, we focus on building the capacity of a new kind of leadership, that of data coaches. Data coaches are specially trained teachers, coaches, and administrators who guide data teams through collaborative inquiry. Data teams are typically made up of teachers who teach the same content or grade level. Their purpose is to work together to improve teaching and learning. Ideally, every data team has access to a data coach. The data coach's role encompasses 3 dimensions, represented by the 3 concentric rings in the diagram. First, they apply data literacy, the ability to observe, analyze, and respond to a variety of different kinds of data for the purpose of improving teaching and learning. For example, they use formative assessments individually and collaboratively to diagnose learning needs, plan next steps, and provide students with feedback to improve their performance. They analyze common benchmark assessments at the end of a unit or course of study to improve the curriculum, share best practices, and provide extra help for students who need it. They analyze data about people, practices, and perceptions to understand what might be underlying student learning problems and to monitor improvement. And they drill down into summative assessments to determine whether learning has taken place and to inform programmatic changes. They make use of data disaggregated by racial, ethnic, gender, economic, language, and special populations to uncover and confront achievement gaps.
I think that the work that we've done has really increased our data literacy. And so because it's increased our data literacy, I think now the role of the data coach, the role of, say, the administrator at the school, the role of now that the district literacy specialist, reading specialist can take in the district, and the role that the assistant superintendent takes. I think because our increased data literacy is at a different level, I think that really added rigor to the work that we did this year.
The second ring represents facilitation. Being a data coach is not just about using data literacy. Data coaches spread data literacy, get others excited about and knowledgeable about data, and facilitate collaborative inquiry with data teams.
I find myself more as a collaborative partner, but kind of someone who guides and steers teachers in a particular direction and explains a lot of things. This is why we're doing this. This is what we need. This is what the process is for those people who have not taken the course and are not as aware of it.
Data coaches are equipped with a set of facilitation tools to assist teams in identifying common student learning problems on which to focus, verifying causes, generating solutions, and monitoring results. In addition, data coaches guide data teams to critically examine their own assumptions and cultural biases, to reflect on their teaching, and to take targeted action. In short, data coaches help to build collective capacity so that every teacher becomes an agent of school improvement.
That's sort of the beauty of inferences, is let's get it out on the table. Because sometimes you might hear assumptions in there. These kids never take time to fill in the blank. Okay, right there, the data coach in you your ears should perk up and say, so tell me more. What do you mean by these kids? Right? Let's challenge those assumptions.
The data coach role goes beyond facilitating data teams. Data coaches lead for sustainability, helping to influence the entire school culture to be one in which data are used collaboratively, continuously, and effectively to improve teaching and learning. They take a stand for equity in the achievement of all students, model collaboration and risk-taking, and help to assure that collaborative inquiry is not a flash in the pan, but the way the school goes about its business of improving.
The reason that the student learning was sustained in the process at 54th Street is because the teachers took true ownership of the culture of that school. They were empowered to do so. They were vested in the vision, they were vested in the children, and they were vested in the continued growth of the program, the instructional program. They collaborated on professional development, and they continued to work using the data in order to inform best practice.
The next step across the bridge is structured collaboration.
Although, as Greg mentioned before, teachers are always wanting to talk with each other and collaborate, there wasn't really a structure to do that. And I think having a structure where we actually focus on a small piece of data at a time and have a goal of really finding out why this is happening and then making a change was really exciting for me, and I think that's what drew in a lot of teachers and kind of hooked them at our school, is feeling like, okay, we have a way to look at this now, and we're actually going to make some changes that can make a difference.
The good news is, what I've seen is because of the structures of the program, we find people who were resistors coming in and joining as they see things begin to shift.
Creating data teams and hoping for the best does not guarantee success. Yes, well-constructed teams, ideally of teachers who teach the same content or grade level, are important. Equally important is that teams have time to meet together regularly, ideally for about 45 minutes a week during the school day. A third structure is the use of collaborative norms, protocols, and data tools. And finally, high-functioning data teams use a model to guide their inquiry. We'll talk further about a model for collaborative inquiry in the next module. Structured collaboration leads to the next step across the bridge: frequent and in-depth uses of data. For example, data teams examine common formative assessments and student work virtually every week. They look at benchmark assessments quarterly and state assessment data annually, drilling down into these in as much detail as possible. How often do data teams meet? A recent study found that in 77% of schools that were closing achievement gaps, data teams were meeting a few times a month or more often. The last critical step across the bridge is instructional improvement. Nothing changes if we don't change what we teach, how we assess, and how we communicate high expectations to students. Data become the catalyst to reflecting on and making changes in the curriculum, instruction, and assessment practices, attitudes, beliefs, and practices related to equity and access, intervention systems for students, and ongoing professional learning for teachers. These four critical supports for collaborative inquiry: leadership and capacity, structured collaboration, frequent and in-depth data use, and instructional improvement, all rest on the foundation of a particular kind of school culture characterized by trust, a shared commitment to equity, and collaboration.
Collaboration has to have a purpose. Teachers have to, and administrators have to, provide opportunities for trust to build in the culture, and that's done one relationship at a time. The thing that I like about the using data process is that it addresses those issues of trust right at the beginning. of the process. Before you even look at numbers or before you even look at, there's an opportunity for you to look at obstacles and solutions. There's an opportunity for the teachers to have that dialogue independent of the administrator, and the administrator to have that dialogue independent of the teachers. And then the power of that is when those two conversations come together and real issues come to the table, so that it's no longer parking lot conversations or non-discussables, as Roland Barthes refers to them, but they're issues that we address head on. And in doing so, that builds a fertile field for the culture to flourish and for collaboration to occur.